Hi guys, Henry here from Investment for Expats. If you haven't come across us before, we've got over 500 blogs on how to manage wealth, particularly for expats and cross-border planning. So I want to go over some of the Jeremy Hunt's budget highlights as of March 2024. Just quickly go over them and then explain how it may affect you specifically for expats and some of my kind of views on the allowances and what are the kind of nuances around them and what are kind of criticisms of them. So firstly, quickly go over some of the main attributes. The main rate for employee national insurance contributions will be cut from 10 to 8%. The high income child benefit will be increased from 60 to 80,000. An additional ISA limit of £5,000 if invested into UK stocks and shares and funds on top of the £20,000. The higher rate capital gains tax will be reduced from 28 to 24%. Furnished holiday home will be abolished. The value added tax will be increased from 85 to 90,000, and the UK domiciled rules will be replaced with a regime-based scheme. Now, so if we cover a bit of those for expats. Now, firstly, go on to the ISA limit. Obviously, if you are returning to the UK and you're a high income earner, this only really affects high income earners, and this is kind of a nuance with it, with why I think the UK government hasn't been smart in using this, because only kind of, I think it's 33% actually use the full ISA allowance of £20,000, and also into the technicalities, it doesn't really help the UK investment, because it's, if you look at the technicalities. But regardless of that, so if you are a high income earner and you move back to the UK as an expat, you can then top up your ISA amount of 20,000, and then if you wanted to invest it into UK PLC funds, etc., stocks and shares, so for example Shell or whatever, you can then invest an extra 5,000. Could be good if you're kind of looking for those extra dividend paying. The UK has quite a lot of high dividend funds, or I think the aim of it is to go more growth orientated, but the UK is not a growth market as what we've seen. My personal views on this is it's a good thing that it's came in, I suppose. It's complicated ISAs even more that are a complicated bunch when you have so many ISAs, your LISAs, your investment business ISAs, etc. They're going to potentially look at taxing cash ISAs. It's the government needs to simplify this, and I think they've just added another complex layer on it. But if you roll it back, I think it's good that high earners can actually use a bit more of their ISA, even if it is somewhat limited into where they can invest it. So that's a kind of half plus for high earners. Child tax allowance not really applicable for a lot of expats. If we have a look more into the nuances of the changes, no pension changes. Again, this was increased. The LTA will be abolished as of April of this year, 2024. 60,000 limit tapering at 20,000, still okay amount. Hopefully it will go up in later years. Capital gains tax, now this is quite significant, will be cut in half to 3,000, and dividend tax, the higher rate will reduce, as we said before, at 24%, but the lower rate will stay at 18%. Yeah, it's looking more for to use those kind of tax savings accounts for that. Also, if you're back in the UK, the government has announced the new NSNI bond 3-year fixed term program. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that, but it may be something that investors may want to look at if they just want a kind of an SNI program. Inheritance tax, and this is a big one that a lot of people ask me about, is will this change? The Tory governments have been looking to kind of change this to kind of win voters. No change on this, and again, if a Labour government comes in, it's likely to stay the same on that, unfortunately. So IHT, no change. The class 3 voluntary contributions go up to £17.45 a week, so 907.4 £907.40 per year, class 2 £3.45 a week. So really, when you look at it, some of the kind of caveats, the increase from 85,000 to 90,000 is hardly one of inflation, really not a big deal. The ISA one, quite a particular change, not really big there. The cut, somewhat significant. I think that's one of the main ones that the Tory governments were looking for. But if you're looking from 28 to 24, but if you're looking more in detail, I don't think there's too much there, and I think it's actually a bit of a negative that they've taxed more. They haven't changed the IHT rules. The pension rules stay the same, and they may even be reverted when a Labour government comes in. I'll do a blog on this, going over more in detail and specifically how it may affect expats, particularly those kind of on the remittance basis, non-domicile view on that. But if you do have any more questions, feel free to email me at info@investmentforexpats.com.